Yo, what is up everybody? Welcome back to Joe's Garage for the very first Subaru Sunday. This isn't exactly the video I plan to post after part 1 of the EJ25 engine teardown, but while editing the rest of the footage, I realized that part 2 really has the potential to be next week's Subaru Saturday. So here I was editing around midnight when Zoid450 left me a comment wishing my family and I a happy Thanksgiving. That made me realize it's going to be a busy holiday week, my kids have school off, and we're having a nice turkey dinner at my parents' and in-laws' house. That being said, I'm not sure how much work I'll be able to get done on the 2.5 RS next week, so it actually works out perfectly that I broke the videos into 2 parts. I did not do that intentionally, but hey, some things just work out. I think a great question for this video would be, what's your favorite dish or food prepared for Thanksgiving and who makes it? Mine would be my Mimi stuffing. Mimi just turned 100 years old in September, God bless her heart, and is no longer cooking Thanksgiving dinner, but I'd pay any amount of money to have her stuffing again on the Thanksgiving dinner table. I hope everyone watching gets some nice time off work and enjoys great food with their family and friends. In order to keep the promise I made in yesterday's video to have Subaru Sunday, I have some footage from the engine teardown that I think will keep you looking forward to the in-depth video we'll be dropping next Saturday. I tried something different with my extra camera that I've been wanting to experiment with throughout the restoration process. We recorded the engine teardown in a time lapse from an angle that almost captures everything I'm doing. This includes what's involved in filming the full-length videos, moving the camera tripod around 100 times, cleaning up my workspace, grabbing tools, and more. It's pretty much just raw footage of what it takes to film these YouTube videos, but at 20 times the speed. I've always enjoyed time-lapse videos, so I think it's pretty fun to watch the process this way. Another thing I like about the time-lapse in today's video is that it shows me getting the engine torn down to the block, exposing the pistons and crankcase. However, it does not show you the end result of what we'll have to deal with going forward. Kinda like a teaser, keeping you on the edge of your seat until next week's Subaru Saturday. This could either flop and spoil my video for next week, or it could work out really well and be something I do more often. In my previous Subaru Saturday, when I was removing the undercoating, I asked what I could do to boost engagement, and a few of you mentioned splitting the footage into different videos, with one showing the in-depth work and the other with a quicker paced footage. Imagine if I recorded everything I do for the rest of the series in a time-lapse and continued to drop that the following day. It might be something I try out depending on how the analytics go for this video, so make sure to smash the thumbs up button if you're enjoying this video. That's all I have to say for this one, so I'm gonna throw on some music I enjoy to cap it off and talk to you guys in the next Subaru Saturday when we get really in depth and tear down the rest of the EJ25. Thank you for watching, and I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving. So the story I wanted to tell you guys, we're gonna put this segment in. It is a little bit off topic and I don't want to talk too long, but while I was removing the engine wire harness, it made me remember this and I was just like, oh my God, what a story. So I had bought, when I was flipping cars, it was a like a 2006 or 7, maybe a 2009 even. It was a Legacy, it wasn't the GT, but it was all-wheel drive. It only had like 90,000 miles, I believe. And the car, it was the same color as the Legacy GT I did show in my previous video. It was a beautiful car and it ran great. I sold it to a friend and down the road it started to die and we couldn't really determine what the issue was. It would run great and then it would just die. So after diagnosing it for weeks, I mean, we would try and figure it out for the longest amount of time. Crazy electronical things were happening, so we knew it was related to the electronics. It just took forever to figure it out. But what it was, I mean, this is absolutely absurd. And I don't know what, down the road, I just eventually saw it while I was inspecting the engine. The wire harness to the engine, the way this ground wrapped up around the intake, and that's when I was removing this, is when I remembered this. It wrapped up around the intake, it got frayed like right here, okay? And it was exposed and it was shorting out on the intake. And after a while, it started to just smoke and got extremely hot and just smoldered the wires. I mean, it was just completely kaput. After a while, the car just died. I had to grab it with the flatbed. I towed it home until I figured out what it was. And, you know, I was shocked when I found those wires just black and charred. You know, and it was so crazy because, you know, it's not an easy thing to remove this wire harness on even the newer models. It's a little more difficult. There's more ground points and it's just not as simple as this one right here. So, and you know, everything's tucked away unless you're really tearing apart the engine. It's just not so practical to get that out. But I was able to get the old one off and I found a new one at a Subaru a couple hours away. So I went out there, I drove, I picked it up, brought it home, installed it, and the car started immediately. It was incredible. And that's not the only thing down the road with that car that has came up. I have a ton of stories about, you know, not just Subarus, but cars in general. I've been through it all. And, you know, that's something that we'll bring to the channel as time goes. But I just thought that was a really interesting story because obviously I was removing the wire harness and it just clicked in my head like, holy cow. That was one of the worst times ever because, you know, I didn't want to let my friend who bought the car down. You know, I obviously sold him the car and I really couldn't figure it out for the longest time. And then it was just like, oh my goodness, look at this wiring harness. And I probably have some pictures. I know I have a picture of the car and I might just go ahead and post every single Subaru I've ever owned or flipped or sold because it's been a lot. I mean, there's at least like 5 or 6 of them. They're great cars. I really love them, and this one's special. You guys already know how much I love this car, so it's just really awesome that we're getting to do this and we're doing it together. That's one of the things I really like too, is just the fact that I'm starting to build a little community that, you know, is working with me on the car. I think that's probably the coolest thing because yes, I am doing the work, but you know, with everybody's mindset and help, you know, we're really gonna make something special here, and not just with this RS, with the channel. It's gonna be great. So thank you so much. Let's just get right back to the work on the engine and see what we're gonna have to deal with when we get this thing torn down.
Oh